I'm George Taylor from ImagiNERDing, and welcome to this review of the 2017 Blu-ray release of the Walt Disney classic, Pinocchio. This is the second release for Pinocchio on Blu-ray. It originally was released on Blu-ray in 2009 and then put into the Disney Vault in 2011, so it's been about 6 years. And Pinocchio was the second animated film released by the Disney Studios after the enormous success of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And technically, it is considered a masterpiece, even though it wasn't hailed as one during the initial theatrical release in 1940. So should you pick up this edition of Pinocchio if you already own the 2009 release? Well, if you don't own the 2009, then you definitely needed to buy this edition. But if you already own the 2009, I'm not so sure. So the film looks astounding and sounds superb. And I swear it sounded like I was hearing things for the very first time. For instance, the first scenes with Geppetto and the Pinocchio marionette were so charming musically that I almost didn't remember the scenes having as much music. And Pinocchio is one of the few films to have received the very rare 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Again, this is a Disney classic, so there's not much I can say about the film that hasn't been said before. So the real reason to pick up a Blu-ray if you already own another one is the bonus features. And there are only 4 included in this release. And the first one, and the longest one, is Walt's Story Meetings, Pleasure Island, which I really enjoyed. Basically, Pixar's Pete Docter and Disney historian and author J.B. Kaufman talk about and explore some recently discovered artwork in Disney's Animation Research Library that touches on the Pleasure Island sequence, and it talks about a lot of new gags as well as new jokes that were created that never made it on the screen. The second feature is In Walt's Words, Pinocchio. And basically, Walt Disney discusses the making of Pinocchio through archival recordings and interviews. And it was a very short bonus feature that I enjoyed and used photos from Walt's life to bring his thoughts and feelings about Pinocchio to life. I enjoyed it, but I've heard most of the quotes before. The third featurette is called the Pinocchio Project, When You Wish Upon a Star. And it's described as music influencers Alex G., Tanner Patrick, and J.R. Aquino from Disney's Maker Studio create a rendition of When You Wish Upon a Star and create a fresh new music video. And this was pretty odd to me. Disney seems to throw one odd thing that's just not meant for me into each release, and this is it. The song, I'd never heard of these people, for one thing, but the song was very lackluster, and there just wasn't any passion or emotion in the recording. The fourth and final new featurette is Oswald the Lucky Rabbit in Poor Papa. And this recently restored and scored 1927 short features Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, who gets multiple visits from the stork. And as always, it's amazing to see the earliest works of the Disney Studios. And it's, they don't put the short into historical context, which they've usually done, but it's still interesting to see it. Just try not to be offended by Oswald shooting a rifle or the copious amounts of recycled footage. So then, of course, it has a lot of classic bonus features from the first Blu-ray release that includes a long, very long and good making of Pinocchio, several deleted scenes, sing-alongs, storyboards, and theatrical trailers. So, should you pick up this release, the 2017 Walt Disney Signature Collection release? Well, really comes down to the bonus features. If they interest you, then yes, you should, especially if you don't own the 2009 release. But personally, there wasn't enough bonus material to warrant a purchase if you own the 2009 release. And, it's a beautiful film, very well done, and the 2017 version is truly gorgeous. And overall, it is worth adding to your collection, especially if you don't already have Pinocchio on Blu-ray. I'm George Taylor from ImagiNERDing, and thank you so much for checking out this video review of Pinocchio on Blu-ray. Don't forget to leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up, and tell me what you love about Pinocchio.